Hello everyone, good morning. So let's have a quick daily briefing for today and just a quick recap on last Friday's data. Okay, so first thing is the retail sales for Eurozone for the month of April. So previous data was 3.3% and forecasted at negative 1.2%. And release time last Friday 5 p.m. And during the month of April, the retail sales for Eurozone was a negative 3.1%. So lower than the forecasted, and we did not beat the previous data prior to the month of April. And yung pinaka-key data, or one of the key data last Friday is the non-farm payrolls for the month of May for the dollar. So previous data was 378,000 and forecasted at 650K. So expected nila higher than 278 or the previous data for this month or for the month of May. But after ma-release nung NFP, it was actually very disappointing for the dollar dahil as we all know, yung ADP nila last week ay naging maganda, but for non-farm payrolls, hindi naging parehas yung data for the ADP and the non-farm payroll. But for the month of May, the non-farm payroll was 559,000 jobs for the month of May. So it did not beat the forecasted data, but even though yung mas mataas siya comparing din sa previous month. And for the unemployment rate for the month of May for a dollar as well. So previous data was 6.1% and forecasted at 5.9%. And for the month of May, the unemployment rate was 5.8%. So slightly lower rather than the forecasted, but it beats the previous data as well. So overall for the dollar, naging mixed sentiment yung data last Friday, but overall naging bearish yung impact nito for the dollar. So that is why a lot of currencies are benefited from this data. Followed by the Canadian dollar unemployment rate for the month of May. So previous data was 8.1% and forecasted at 8.2%. And for the month of May, their unemployment rate was still unchanged at 8.2%. Followed by the employment change for CAD as well for the month of May. So negative 207.1K for previous data. And they are actually expecting it lower than the previous one at negative 20K. But for the actual, same thing din with the dollar. Medyo hindi naging maganda yung data for the employment data for the CAD. So actual data for the month of May for the employment change was negative 68,000. So economic data today, since Monday, less noise sa market, but today meron tayong unemployment rate for Swiss franc at 1:45 p.m. and CPI or inflation rate for Swiss franc din for the month of May, month-on-month basis. So economic data today, first thing is gold. Okay? So since naging maganda or hindi naging maganda yung data for the NFP last Friday, isa to sa mga nag-benefit. So as you can see upon the release ng NFP last Friday, umakyat yung gold for almost 1890 per ounce. So galing siya na 1860 1870 to 1860 per ounce. But during the Asian session, current price ng gold last time I've checked nasa 1886 or 1880 per ounce level. But we have to keep in mind na lalabas din yung interest rate decision for the US dollar 1 week from now. So it doesn't mean na hindi vulnerable itong instrument na yan. So pay attention tayo sa data na yan. So possible support for gold is 1883 and 1876 per ounce and 1895 and 1901 per ounce respectively. Same thing with gold, nag-benefit din si euro from that data. So the price of the euro dollar after the release ng NFP, it went up to almost 1.2170. So galing yan ng 1.2110 level. But during the Asian session, still na-remain pa rin yung price around the 1.21 level. And for the euro dollar, medyo ano no, medyo magandang magiging ano niya no, magiging effect no if once na um, bumagsak yung interest rate decision for the dollar dahil they have this tapering issue no for the Fed. But overall for the Eurozone, we have to pay attention no, dahil for this week lalabas yung interest rate decision for the Eurozone. So same thing with the gold no. It doesn't mean na kahit may interest rate or any data no, still vulnerable pa rin tong pair na yan. So possible support is 1.2148 and 1.2132, and for resistance 1.2188 and 1.2201 respectively. And last thing, dollar Canadian. During the NFP, no, since lumabas yung data for the employment rate for CAD and USD, but overall naging bearish yung momentum ng dollar Canadian last Friday. But during the Asian session, yung price niya is actually nag-retreat no, slightly from 1.21 or 1.2090 level. So galing siya ng 1.2070. But same thing with the euro. Lalabas din yung interest rate decision for the Canadian dollar this week. So expect natin no, kapag once na-release yung data, kakaroon talaga ng high volatility no, with this market. So possible support for dollar loonie is 1.2052 and 1.2036, and for resistance 1.2102 and 1.2117 respectively. Again, for the week, ang kailangan natin abangan na data is yung interest rate decision for the euro, and same thing with the Canadian dollar. And 1 week from now, lalabas yung interest rate decision for the US dollar. So again, since Monday, last night sa market, but for today, meron tayong unemployment rate for Swissie at 1:45 p.m. for the month of May. And 2:30 p.m. we have inflation rate for Swissie again for month of May, month-on-month basis. So overall, no, we have to tell the clients that if they still have a position or they're planning to have a trade on the dollar, we have to keep on telling them no, that they have to be cautious, especially if they're trading currencies no, that is paired by the dollar. All right, so that is all for our daily briefing today. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.